dies, he dies.
Ivan Drago has to go down as one of the worst villains in boxing movie history. Of course, I discovered Rocky IV a long time ago, but I ignored watching this even though I had the CD sitting in front of me as a kid. But I decided to watch it after many years in 2025, and I discovered a villain called Ivan Drago. This guy was from the Soviet Union, and he decided to call the American South, calling them trash boxers, and they openly challenged the former champion called Apollo Creed into a boxing match. It was an exhibition, and Apollo was already retired, decided to come back into boxing, and these guys wanted to square down in the ring. But unfortunately, Rocky and Apollo didn't know that Apollo was digging his own grave in the boxing ring, and he accepted the bout. The fight finally came. Apollo was looking hyped up, and the feeling of the Americans just to school this guy was so much, but they didn't know that this Russian guy was gonna school them, the guy from Soviet Union, Ivan Drago. So he goes into the ring and they both touch glove, and Ivan Drago says, "You will lose." And at this point, Apollo knows that he's going in for a longer night, and I'm sure he's known that he's made a mistake. But anyway, he shakes off the fear and says, "Let's go into the ring and battle." So the referee rings the bell, and boom, my guy's being pulverized from one corner of the ring to another by Ivan Drago. And at this point, Rocky wants to throw in the towel. His manager wants to throw in the towel, but my guy Apollo Creed is begging, "Don't throw in the towel, brother. You're gonna spoil our friendship. Please do it for the sake of our friendship. Don't make me lose in this fashion." So he wanted to let him continue the fight to the end, thinking he was able to stage against this big giant from Russia. But unfortunately, it would turn out tragic for him. In the second round, Ivan Drago beats him again, and even his wife, Rocky's wife, and Apollo's wife are shouting in the crowd because it was horrible to watch it. But before you knew it, Ivan Drago landed one, and boom, Apollo's on the ground. He gaps him for air, he's passed out, and Rocky rushes in there. The referee rings the bell for a KO, and Rocky discovered his friends about to pass away before his eyes. And Ivan Drago looked with the coldest stare and the coldest line in boxing history. He says, "If he dies, he dies." At this point, I know that this guy is more than just a boxer. He's more of a villain. Of course, Rocky's friend eventually passed away, and Apollo was gone from boxing. So Rocky decided to relinquish his title for the sake of fighting Ivan Drago, the monster, the villain. And of course, this guy's training so hard just to revenge this guy and avenge the death of his friend Apollo. So the fight finally comes, and it takes place in Russia, Moscow, of course. Everybody is cheering for Ivan Drago. Everybody is booing Rocky. He gets beat from one round to the other, and I think it was the later rounds that Rocky started to make his mark, and from there he went on to win the fight with a knockout. It was clearly a well-deserved victory, and revenge was finally done. But what would have made me happy actually is if Rocky killed Ivan Drago. But anyway, I love it. But Ivan Drago is truly a menace, and is one of the coldest villain in history, especially the line he delivered, "If he dies, he dies." Of course, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Maybe I'm gonna do a recap of how Rocky IV, the whole stuff, because it's absolutely peak and everybody needs to watch it.